So they're doing everything they can to help the Democratic Party. They're doing everything they can to bail the Democratic Party out. Never underestimate the ability of MAGA to fuck things up. And don't underestimate how the ruling class relies on the pendulum swinging from the left to the right. You have George W. Bush who wins. Then you get Barack Obama who wins. Then Donald Trump who wins. Then Joe Biden. They enjoy the pendulum swinging like that. They need both parties to be strong. So MAGA, after the Democrats helped revive MAGA and Trump, you had Trump that pulled off October 7th that pissed off a ton of suburban wine moms. Like the suburbanites was done with Trump after October 7th. So what did the Democrats do? They bailed him out by committing genocide.
Exactly.
So then what do Donald Trump do? So Democrats have committed a genocide. The party is dead in the water. So what do they do?
Continue
continue the genocide, continue the Ukraine war.
And then Dinesh D'Souza goes, what do you mean there's nothing different between the two parties? That's where we are. And I think that they've actually, the greater they have actually encouraged us to sit in echo chambers. If you notice, I was talking about it the other day. I was like, well, at the end of the day, we have Twitter, which is
supposed to here.
You're fine. We have Twitter, which is supposed to be sort of this community, the community town square. But then you have Truth Social, which is an echo chamber for the right, and you have Blue Sky and Meta, which are echo chambers for the left. And that's encouraged to go and kind of stay apart and not speak together, not organize, not converse, not talk about ideas together. So I think that we should work against that. I think they want to keep.
Have you seen the aggressively pro cancel culture right wing? I think some people call them the woke right. Yeah, because people like Laura Loomer and Mark Levin. Laura Loomer had this post. I know you've been going after Laura Loomer pretty hard. Like, I love seeing your content when you clap at her. But Laura Loomer was like, man, I should have never met these motherfuckers. Like, she was having a fucking Karen meltdown and epic shit. I met all these motherfuckers. I met Tucker Carlson. I met all these motherfuckers who betrayed Donald Trump. Donald Trump was so good to you. And you betrayed. I should have never met you motherfuckers. I'm never making that mistake again. I'm never getting close to you motherfuckers ever again. And I'm like, I thought you guys critiqued the left for this shit.
Exactly.
Like I thought
I thought you were the fuck your feelings crowd. Y'all got a lot of feelings all of a sudden. A lot of feelings.
Watching the MAGA Civil War has been glorious. It's because they expose themselves as the liberals I've been calling them as. Because as someone who's a tanky, I'm a comment. I've been calling MAGA people liberals. I'm like, bro, you're not a fucking some sort of conservative. You're a shit lib. You believe in big government spending. You believe in sending all your money to Israel, who provide their people free health care. You believe in spending a ton of money on the giant police state. You want a little nanny state. Like this is the argument I'll make the right wingers. I make them feel stupid because like you're not conservative. What conservative about you? The fact that you hate gay people, that's it. That's your defining feature. You don't like the rainbow flag. Meanwhile, you literally support neoliberal ideology.
Literally, they're all globalists. All these technocrats, they're all globalists. They don't want any borders for themselves, and they don't really have any. They don't have any borders, these private companies and these entities. How did Trump get rich? I mean, this is another thing that Dinesh said last night. He's like, Trump's worth so much money. First of all, it's not even liquid. And second of all, 40% of it is from his rug pull back before the inauguration. So, these people aren't even they're not even public servants anymore. They serve a private sector that we don't really have access to. Laura Loomer cracks me up, but I watch her and I follow her because she's actually showing the shift. MAGA is being totally it always was to a degree. MAGA is being totally co-opted and taken over by the Zionists. When I criticize America now, yesterday, I was attacked viciously in a space by Zionists because I criticized America. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like patriotism. This feels like
Sarah being in these spaces is going to battle with these people. Like, it's very entertaining if you guys haven't seen it, Sarah.
But I thought it was really interesting. I said, why are you mad at me? They're like, you said the United States is evil. I was like, I was talking about U.S. Christianity. First of all, why do you care? Because you're Jewish.
Oh, they would hate me. They would hate me.
You're really they're actually mad because the United States is giving Israel and Bibi everything they want. And me saying that's wrong is a bad thing. Is a bad thing. It's interesting watching who's dropping out of MAGA and who's still carrying the torch, and it's been completely co-opted by Zionists and Christian or Jews and Christian Zionists. Honestly, I mean, Laura Loomer brags, "I went to the White House and I got 15 people fired." Okay, how?
Yeah.
Like, why and how? And what are you doing at the White House? You ate dog food for $100 sponsor. Like, what is going on? So, but I do follow her because I think she actually gives me a lot of insight into what's happening in this sort of Jewish Zionist Con Inc. right. You gives you real info.
You know how they think. Like she's
because they're taking over right now. This very interesting or this very this like Zionistic, very Christian Zionist neo-Conish.
Because she's like many other young Gen Z types. Because I know she may look 50, guys. I know she looks 62.
She's a mess.
But she's like fucking like what, 28, 30? How old is Laura Loomer exactly, guys? I know she's there late.
I think she's younger than me. I'm in my 30s.
I'll show her. Let me say Laura Loomer age. Oh, Jesus Christ, 32. So yeah, guys, I know she looks 63, but she's actually 32. So as a young shit poster, she doesn't have the restraint that like the older generation of propagandists do. The same thing you kind of see with Fuentes. Like it almost across the board on the left and the right, the younger generation tend to be more off the cuff. So Laura Loomer is way more off the handle, way more willing to show her emotions. So like you read her tweets and you can see like, bro, this is how they really think. Like these Zionist Jewish people, they really believe their only duty is to serve the Zionist state and to serve the Zionist people. And Laura Loomer will look at anyone who questions that. Like what are you, a traitor? Of course you're supposed to serve us. Like the meltdown she had, and to your point about her being Trump, when she realized that she was getting ratioed by Fuentes, a lot of these people over and over again, she was like, "You guys don't understand. I have access to Trump. Trump likes me. I'm like that's her default. That's her go-to." And you guys see how
teacher's pet.
Yeah. The willing to be around and the access to power. She don't care if she don't have any real street credibility. She just want to be friends with the politicians.
Exactly.
And we see this all over the place. And
they're so out to lunch, they think that someone like Nick Fuentes would care. They're like, I don't care that you have black. I wouldn't care if somebody's like, I have access to Donald Trump. I'm like, I don't even want to talk to the motherfucker. Like, good for you. Like, why do I want access to the White House? I have no interest. I would move to the East Coast if I did.
Yes, and Sarah, the funny thing is you actually you actually read my point. Because my point was that's the same argument they use against us in RBN. They're like, I have access to Zoran Mamdani, the squad and them. They listen to us. Like this, is like the Hassan left. They think they're more relevant. They're more important because they have the ears of the establishment. And the point I'm making, hopefully it's not missing you guys. Hopefully my point is coherent here. The point is these establishment swamp monsters. They take how close they are with the establishment. How they're essentially sycophantic to the establishment and how the establishment accepts them, and they use that as credibility. And then some people are like, man, Nick, I know you're too much of a bomb thrower, you cuss too much, you talk too country. Like if you need to clean up, you'll be able to have this person on your show. You'll be able to invite AOC, you'll be able to invite
right.
I don't give a fuck. That's to your point, sir. Like I don't give a fuck, man. Like if I get access, whatever access I get, I'm fine with. But we don't go into the game looking for access to these people. We want the approval of the proletariat. We want the approval of our community and educate our people more important than anything else, right? But go ahead, Sarah.
That's the thing. Like we don't have the same values as them. People like approach me all the time and about like I'm getting paid by so and so. Once in a while, people will offer me like interviews or stuff. But there's always like a catch, and I'm like, we don't need the money. That's not where our values are. And there's people that value money and we just don't. And a lot of people don't understand that. That's sort of money clout culture. I'm not really into it. I don't really need it.
Yeah, I'm not material.
They don't understand, and that frustrates them. They're like, I have access to Trump. You're like, I don't really want to eat French fries with Trump. And they're like, wait, what? Why? There must be something wrong with you. You must be a Nazi or something. What is it? You must be a communist. You're a commie.
Yeah. Once again, I had access to all those people. I remember Nina Turner and them used to follow me, and then I went on You know, I went on Jimmy's show and I torched Nina Turner.
I like her too. Yeah, I used to like her too. And that's the thing about MAGA, these influencers is, and even the Hassan people that you mentioned with Mamdani, they don't realize that they think that, oh, I have access to them. They're listening to me. I have their ear. It's the other way around. You become the consent manufacturers. And that's exactly what happened to Laura Loomer. She went and she met with JD Vance for 3 hours. Oh, I have the ear of the vice president. But what did she come out of that meeting doing? Saying how great Palantir was and how much she wanted it to go and find migrants or illegal immigrants and anti-Semites. So she's a consent manufacturer. These people aren't influencing politics at all. That's a lie.
Yeah. Very well said. That's why they can't influence them on, like, for example, like Hassan will have Bernie Sanders on, and he will give him a softball interview, and then Bernie Sanders will then repeat things that are completely antithetical to what Hassan believes. He will say stuff like Israel had the right to defend himself, and then people will like approach him like, what are your thoughts about these Zionist talking points by Bernie? Like, oh, what can you do, man? What can you do? Oh, come on. Of course you gotta say that. You got, and that's your point, Sarah. That's why your point is better than I think a lot of people realize. These people, when they get access, they concede. They think that the politicians concede them. No, you conceding to Zionist talking points. You accepting talking points for someone otherwise you will never accept. But you accept it now because you have access. You see how they pull you to their position. And whenever they see people who are not willing to budge, these are the people who are casted outside. These are people who will get blacklisted, like me and Sarah and many other people, and that's okay. Once again, we're not materialist, not a career climber. You know, luckily I live in the Midwest, very low cost of living. You know what I mean? But we don't. It's not about social standing, and there are a lot of people who, like Trump. Like Trump is one of the best examples. Like the people who are attached to the bourgeoisie, and this is what worries me about Zoran. I don't mean to pile on this guy, but Zoran Mamdani comes from wealth. He comes from money. And a lot of these people, they are performing for their class. So getting that promotion, becoming mayor, getting that esteemed position is more important than anything else. Like, are you willing to become a social outclass to the bourgeoisie class? A lot of them not willing to do that. That's why a lot of them not willing to take positions that are just factually correct. For example, saying that the Palestinian people and Hamas have the right to self-defense. If you want to be part of the professional managerial class, if you don't want to hurt your social standing, what do you say? I don't personally agree with globalized intifada. I don't agree with Hamas. I didn't like Assad in Syria, because apparently he one of the people that cheered the downfall of Assad, Mamdani. So these are the kind of things you do if you want the approval of your class. But hey, once again, he's just a mayor, so I'm not gonna shout him too much. But you guys gotta understand what a class loyalty to.
You know what's amazing too? You're talking about class loyalty and class consciousness. The New Yorkers that are most mad about this election are obviously the elites and the upper classes. And I'm like, you want all these people to live here and serve you and to keep your lifestyle maintained, but they have to also live under whatever sort of technocratic autocracy that you guys want to put in place because you have more money and power. It's bonkers. It's like it's like you have, you know what I mean? They just want to improve the lives of the people who are actually maintaining your penthouse lifestyle, and you're like, no, they can't have that. It scares me too much.
And I know
there are grocery stores run by the government. They're not going to shop at them.
I know there are people in New York who strongly care about their career, who are upset at this democratic socialist. It may hurt their ability to climb the political ladder. But at the end of the day, how upset are Democrats really? Or maybe I should phrase it like this. I think this is a better way for me to phrase it. How angry should Democrats really be? Because I said way before Zoran was elected, the best thing to happen to the Democratic Party if Zoran wins. Like, a lot of these establishment swamp creatures, they are so short-sighted. They are so obsessed with their Jewish supremacy. Their hatred of Muslims runs so deep. They don't even understand why, technically, like if you look at the chessboard, it will be horrible if Mamdani lost. Because think about it. You have Mamdani taking selfies with Emma Vigeland. He was going on Hassan Piker's progressive show. And the progressive media apparatus went all in on Zoran. I explained this. If you heard me say this a few weeks ago, you heard this rant before. They went all in on this guy because this was the last who's out for them. Like if Zoran Mamdani lost to Cuomo in New York in this era of anti-Zionism where people shifted to the left, the Progressive Project is dead. The DSA was already bleeding resources. They filed for bankruptcy last year. The best thing that happened to the Democratic Party is Zoran winning, because now that revitalized. If you haven't paid attention, there are people like, yeah, we need primary Hakeem Jeffries, let primary Chuck Schumer, let's waste more working class money, let's take over the Democratic Party. It's been revitalized. The win for Zoran Mamdani has been amazing for the DSA, but if he lost. Bro.
But do you think that just this primary win, I think maybe I'm just being a bit utopian or too positive, but I think that this primary win is a huge win regardless in some areas, i.e. the anti-Zionist discourse. I mean,
for sure.
That's the argument that I always get in with people. I'm like, yo, he didn't get elected because he's Muslim or South Asian and they all voted for him. He literally got elected because he's worried about rent freezing and because he's anti-Zionist. Like that's the platform that won him this election. And I think that speaks volumes about how people feel in the most Jewish city in the country, other maybe outside of LA, I would think, or maybe it is the most Jewish city. They have the most power there, I would think. And it was a very interesting win, and I think that it really shocked them. You saw them; they went crazy.
Yeah, for sure. It was a massive referendum against Zionism, and Richie Torres was highly expected to run for governor. He just announced this morning that he's not going to run for governor. And I know, and that's like a big news for the establishment. Like everyone, like, oh my God, Richie Torres not running for governor. And I know that may not seem like big news, but it actually is, because that win by Zoran sent a message to people like Richie Torres that they can't win nationally in a state like New York being a hardcore Zionist like Richie Torres. So it wasn't those stories like, yeah, I understand it's kind of insignificant because electoral politics, but it says a lot, because he's like, fuck, I can't win a governor race with my bro. Can you imagine how bad we would destroy this motherfucker? I'm not even into electoral politics, but I'll take a few jabs at this nigga Richard Torres. Like, bro, you think I won't make a few diss tracks to showing his genocidal? If he ran for governor, he will get destroyed, and he realized that he made his calculation. That's why I'm like, man, I saw that news today. Like, man, that's great. These are great signs and reasons to maintain revolutionary optimism. You understand?
Can I ask you a dramatic question? No, I'm never dramatic, but do you think that I think that the Zionists are kind of creating a huge schism in the country, and kind of knowingly they're at least doing it inside of MAGA? I mean, because now I'm thinking, like, if this momentum continues, and especially the Northeast is very blue, they're very anti-Zionist. Then you get down to like the Southeast and the Midwest, and it gets Zionist again. And then you get over to the coast, the two coasts, and they're very anti-Zionist. This doesn't really bode well when, say, we get candidates for national positions that are anti-Zionist and they wind up winning. That's what I'm thinking. I think that there's like a lot more at play here.
Yeah, those people who had extreme revolutionary optimism regarding Zionism for the last few decades, they've been proven extremely right. And what I mean by that, I used to hear people like Kwame Ture. There were a lot of these Palestinian intellectuals, and this is like before October 7th. Because you guys know I've been covering this for years, like ever since I started as a citizen journalist. And I will always hear these intellectuals and these people say Zionism is inherently unstable. And they will say Zionism will inherently collapse. And to be honest, I was always skeptical of them when they would say that. Like, this is before October 7th. They're like, yeah, Zionism can't maintain itself. It's only a matter of time for the contradiction to be laid bare. They can't hide it forever. Like, what they did by hiding it for as long as they did is extremely impressive. But it's only a matter of time. I was extremely skeptical. I'm like, who knows, man? Who knows? But now, it seems like these motherfuckers was right on point, wasn't they? Because to your point, Sarah, Zionism is destroying the Democratic Party as we know it. We just talked about how the Democratic Party voters is 100% inherently against it. And the Democratic Party ruling class forced the Democratic Party voters to make an extremely fucked up decision, which is extremely abusive. And one of the reasons why people should leave the Democratic Party, because let's have some sympathy for these liberals for a second. These people really believe that Donald Trump is a danger to this country. They may be misinformed, but they see Trump as some threat. And they're like, oh, we got to find a way to defeat Donald Trump. He's a big threat to the LGBT community. He implement trickle-down economics. I know it may sound ridiculous to us, but this is what these people really feel. But then the Democrat ruling class forced them to choose, do you want to fight Trump and engage in Trump derangement syndrome, or do you want to vote for genocide? And think about this. A record amount of Democrats decided not to go with the Klan because exit polls show a record amount of Democrats didn't vote for, who vote for Biden didn't vote for Kamala Harris, with Gaza being the number one reason why. That's a youth poll. So these people are been forced to make this decision, and the Democratic Party is imploding as a result of it. Like they were being excited about this midterm coming up, but they don't realize they did permanent party damage to their base. Like, never underestimate the ability for MAGA and Trump to fuck things up. Never underestimate that. But people like the Democrat Party did permanent damage forever because the Zionists put a gun to their head and forced them to choose. Do you want to win the election, or do you want to betray the Zionist lobby? And the Democrat Party leadership made their decision. And it's kind of fucked up, the decision they made, considering what they told their voters who Donald Trump was. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, who's going to cut Medicare. But fuck it. If you guys don't support Zionism, we will let them win. What does it say about them, right?
Exactly. But I also think that this midterm is going to go abysmally bad for the Republicans. Not that I don't really care either way who wins. I guess I prefer the Democrats, maybe. I don't know in this situation. But they're going to lose. And it's going to create the same situation on the right. And you're going to have a big schism in the party on the right. It's going to be like, why didn't we win? And it's going to be because you take AIPAC money and because you're retarded. And they're going to be like, what do you mean? You know, and it's going to be the same exact thing. I can already see it happening in MAGA. We have this anti-Zionist kind of reactionary right. And then we have the GOP and the neocons who are obviously very Zionist. They have to be. It's part of their foreign policy and ideology. That's going to
what did I tell you guys? What did I tell you guys after literally a few weeks after Donald Trump won? I tell you, they're doing everything they can to help the Democratic Party. They're doing everything they can to bail the Democratic Party out. Never underestimate the ability of MAGA to fuck things up, and don't underestimate how the ruling class relies on the pendulum swinging from the left to the right. You have George W. Bush who wins, then you get Barack Obama who wins, then Donald Trump who wins, then Joe Biden. They enjoy the pendulum swinging like that. They need both parties to be strong. So MAGA, after the Democrats helped revive MAGA and Trump, you had Trump that pulled off October 7th that pissed off a ton of suburban wine moms. Like the suburbanites was done with Trump after October 7th. So what did the Democrats do? They bailed him out by committing genocide.
Exactly.
So then what do Donald Trump do? So Democrats have committed genocide. The party is dead in the water. So what do they do?
Continue
continue the genocide, continue the Ukraine war.
And then Dinesh D'Souza goes, what do you mean there's nothing different between the two parties? That's where we are.
Yeah.
The same foreign policy. And the boomers on each side are going, what do you mean? It's completely different.
Guys, they're more than happy than laying the pendulum switch. Change. You take Tor, I'll be in power. I'll run this committee for a few years. Then I go in the minority, and then we can fundraise. Hell, even if I lose an election, I can become a lobbyist for a few years. Like, guys, they're more than happy with what they don't want. They don't want a third party to rise and fuck that game up. No. Why do you think they want to defeat third parties so strongly? Like, it's the same thing that happened, like, if you're watching, like, pro wrestling, since I like using that analogy. Like, if you're watching pro wrestling with someone, you constantly tell them it's fake. Like, imagine there's this amazing match going on. Like, hey, man, that's fake. Hey, man, that's fake. You like, shut the fuck up, man. Let me enjoy the damn show. That's partisans in a nutshell. We third-party well, speaking for myself, a third-party activists, we remind them that their fucking game is fake. People who don't buy the two-party duopoly, we remind them constantly that they're watching a fake rom-com of a fucking TV show, essentially, and it irritates them. That's why they rather sit back and they want to watch their Nancy Mace political drama. They want to see Jasmine Crockett yell at Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know what I mean? They want to see fucking Gavin Newsom exchange barbs with Ron DeSantis. Yep. It's WWE. You know what I mean?
What I voted for. People to be mean to each other online. I voted for this. These people are so like unserious and inconsequential, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. Speaking of third parties, though, we said the feud between Elon and Trump is sort of back off with this big, beautiful bill. Elon has threatened to create a third party called the American Party, I think he said, or Patriot Party, something along those lines. But anyway, we have now a South African immigrant who's going to run a third party, and the president's screaming that he's going to deport him. What do you think about this Trump-Elon feud? Here's the and the ceasefire that he's invented. So I don't know. Maybe
my brother Nico House had an amazing hotspot video he released exposing how much of a fraud this ceasefire is. So I will leave it to him. Make sure y'all check out Nico House in the hotspot. He did a great job breaking it down. Whenever I see the Elon Musk Donald Trump drama, it cracks me up because
I do think it's real, though.
Yeah, it 100% real. I can't believe that they proved their critics right so much. Like there's all these smug liberal commentators, and it's like the one time they got something right. They said stuff like this all the time, and at the time I shrugged it off. They're like, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are two egos who would never coexist. Now, if you wasn't paying attention, I understand, but that's what the messaging comes from liberal. They're like, it's only a matter of time before Elon Musk and Donald Trump broke up. And I'm like, that's wishful thinking. And it's funny, it was right on the money, bro. Their ego is so strong. You have the president of the United States and the richest man in the world. Their egos clashing, and you see it in real time. So Elon Musk is flying off the handle because he's not getting his government subsidies. Like what? Like Elon Musk is definitely taking the biggest L out of this. Like if you ask me about this whole beef, Elon Musk takes easily the biggest L.
Yeah.
Trump, he doesn't really take an L to me because Trump does what you would expect him to do. Imagine you got the richest man in the world who have politics who otherwise antithetical to yours. Like Elon Musk is a big advocate of fighting climate change. He was a big electric car guy. He was a richer person in the world who supported Democrats. And then out of nowhere, he started supporting you. What will you do with Trump? If you Trump, you're like, hell yeah, I got Elon on my side. Of course, I will accept that. He took Elon's money, won this election. He's like, all right, peace out, y'all. No, by the way, no electric vehicle subsidies. Sorry, guys. So Elon Musk, what was you thinking?
I just said it on Garland's show. I think it has a lot to do with, and I don't mean this is an insult. I mean this as factual, as with his Asperger's or autism, because Trump exists in the gray zone. He exists where nothing is black and white. My feelings change constantly. I say yes, I mean no. I say yes, I'm doing another thing. For someone with Asperger's, they're like, I don't understand any of this. What is going on? And I feel like he went in there and kind of maybe had an idealist sort of, thoughts in his head. I think that he believed in Doge. I didn't, but I think that Elon did. And I think that Elon believes in the things he actually says, and Trump doesn't. And for him, not that I agree with what the things Elon says are or his ideology. I'm just saying I think he believes in it. And Trump is all over the place. And for someone like Elon, I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I feel like he felt very dejected after he was forced to go from like $1 trillion or $2 trillion down to 150 billion, and we wound up getting 20. Like that's an L. That's a huge black mark on Elon Musk. And I think that he thought like this was going to be great. And it wasn't. And I think that happens with Elon a lot. He has these kind of mad scientist ideas with how things are going to work, and then they just don't. And then he's just sad, sort of.
Yeah. I think this story is hilarious to me because it exposes like how mediocre these CEO types actually are.
Yep.
There are people who they wrote exposés. They explain how Elon Musk, like, he's not fucking Tony Stark. He's not someone who's great at engineering. Like, he's not some sort of genius. He's an investor who got a few lucky breaks, stole the IP off a few people, got a lucky break with funding Tesla with many people. He stole the business model from one of his partners. Essentially, he's not this genius that people make him out to be. Which goes to the point I was making on the story, where Elon really thought that he was outmaneuvering Donald Trump. Like, Because when you look at everything that Elon Musk did over the last year, it makes no sense. Like, your business model was relying on liberals thinking that you was Tony Stark, thinking that you a good guy who care about the environment. You doing a heel turn and supporting Donald Trump, trying to win over the MAGA people and convincing the truck drivers to drive electric vehicles. How does that even make sense? So do you guys see where I'm coming from? My point I'm making is Elon Musk is a mediocre child, just like many of the other capitalists who made it big because of lucky breaks. And then once they get on top, they show you how mediocre they are. Elon Musk thought he was doing fucking 40 checks on Trump. I bet you this entire time he thought he had a leg up on Trump. Meanwhile, Trump was manipulating this motherfucker from the beginning. He was taking his money. He helped Republicans win the Senate and the House, helped Donald Trump win the election, and didn't even give him shit. So Donald Trump outplayed Elon and showed how Elon's a fucking amateur. Every decision he made has been negative towards his business, towards his ideology. Like, if his ideology was to cut government spending, he failed on that. So the point I'm making, I know I'm maybe being a little long-winded here, but the point I'm making here is that this shows how mediocre Musk is, or at least he's extremely washed. You know, he's extremely washed. He don't now make these 5D chess moves like you think he does.